And now it's time for a speech of Professor Mancini, head of the Department of Education, University and Research, is speaking on behalf of Minister Giannini, who had a flu.
Thank you. Unfortunately, the Minister cannot be here today and apologizes for her absence. I will read the speech on the Minister's behalf. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the SETPlan conference is taking place in a crucial time, providing an extraordinary occasion to discuss energy issues while the European Commission will start working on the shape of the energy union. Several studies on future energy scenarios converge on the fact that without a proper and shared strategy, energy demand will boom worldwide by 2050, leading to a dramatic increase in the CO2 emissions. Those studies, like the European Community Communication on the Energy Roadmap 2050, maintain that current policies and related efforts will hardly be able to achieve Europe's 2050 decarbonization goals without stronger efforts and significant social and economic changes to reduce CO2 emissions while keeping our energy sector secure and competitive. On the matter, the contribution coming from research in order to reach those targets will be for sure pivotal in the incoming years for a number of reasons. First of all, energy systems tend to slowly change over a long period of time. In fact, the building sector, power generation, and energy-intensive manufacturing require innovations that will need a number of years to be implemented. Secondly, forecasts indicate that without an increase in the levels of energy research, maintaining the competitive edge of Europe, its role as a worldwide hub for low-carbon energy technology manufacturers will be at risk. Finally, we can only expect minor incremental improvements from the learning by doing. The radical innovation and paradigm shifts are expected to come from research efforts only. A more diversified energy supply through increased local production of renewable energies will be to the benefit of reduced dependency on foreign fossil energy imports. Keeping Europe's leadership position in high value-added development and manufacturing of energy technologies could be also a big driver to create innovative jobs, raising the well-being of European citizens. A high contribution in the same direction is also expected from carbon capture and storage technologies and CO2 valorization once deployed. Italy has important areas of international excellence in the field of second-generation biofuels, geothermal power, concentrated solar power, power electronic, or in the development of smart grids, an emerging sector in which Italy has recently consolidated its leadership by coordinating the creation of the International Smart Grids Action Network. In addition, the country is engaged in important R&D programs on clean coal, storage systems, and in nuclear research. But there is much more we can do. As a matter of fact, an analysis of the aggregate input, investment, and output scientific and patent production indicators reveals that research and innovation in the energy field is not still adequate. This can mainly be explained by the limited resources for research and innovation, the high level of fragmentation of actors and areas of research involved, and by the lack of a single coordination control room and clear-cut policy establishing research priorities. The level of resources devoted to research and innovation, both private and public, needs to be increased and finalized. In 2010, our country allocated to R&D in the energy sector about $1.3 billion, of which about $400 million in public funds. This compares with $4 billion invested in Germany, $3.8 billion in France, and $1.5 billion for the UK. We are followed by Spain with $0.8 billion. Having established a national energy strategy fills one gap: the lack of clear policy guidelines to catalyze the interest and resources of the scientific and industrial communities. This should in itself act as a stronger spur to action. In terms of available resources, it will be important to support R&D promoted by private sector stakeholders. The tax reliefs recently introduced by the government are a step in this direction. As for public funding, the Kyoto Revolving Fund is another important element. This will be complemented with two other instruments: the Fund for System Research in the Electricity Sector, financed from electricity tariff revenues, endowed with about 60 million euros per year, and the Fund for the Sustainable Growth, about 300 million euros. This new fund has been recently launched, keeping with the Horizon 2020 priorities for intervention. Public research has an important role to play in the higher risk and longer-term areas of technology. The intention, therefore, is to increase the amount of resources available under competitive access conditions, to create partnerships between both universities and research establishments and private sector companies. Considering the limited resources available, we will need to focus on making public investment in research as effective as possible. Quality spending must become our priority instead of a spending review. From this perspective, we will need to identify new organizational models that supersede the present segmentation of measures entrusted to various entities and ministries. These new models should also facilitate the creation of cross-connections and private-public partnerships. The Ministry for Education, University and Research has issued tenders for national technology clusters with organizational model designed to enhance connections with experiences in other projects in the area of territorial bases. We are exploring the possibility of revamping the energy cluster in order to relaunch this kind of collaboration. On a more general basis, we believe that support should be ensured to current efforts aiming at fostering the integration of R&D capacities and resources at European level and achieve higher critical mass by reducing duplication of research efforts and streamlining contributions. In this framework, the Strategic Energy Technology Plan, SET Plan, represents the cornerstone of European policy for the R&D in key energy technologies. In particular, I think that its recent relaunch, which gave birth to the integrated roadmap exercise, will pave the way to strengthen the synergies between Member States and European Commission in the energy policy making by promoting the convergence and cooperation between national, regional and European innovation programs. The goal is to get the most out of the support instruments available at Member States and European Community level in order to stimulate private investments and exert a strong leverage to make better use of public and private resources within Europe. Market forces can contribute decisively to major technological changes. It is therefore essential to increase the global effort in research and development, firmly focusing resources and political commitment on the research of breakthrough technologies instead of using existing technologies. In this sense, Italy can contribute by investing more strongly on research and development, and even more by offering its help to guide the debate and policy making towards greater international efforts. Italy recognizes that at the European level, the set plan is a strategic response to the major climate and energy challenges. The European Commission has also taken other significant initiatives, most notably the Horizon 2020 programme, which from 2014 to 2020 will gather research and innovation measures into a single framework programme. In this, energy has a prominent position. As regards priority development areas, it will be important to ensure that Italy's technological innovation activities are closely coordinated with the set plan. This is because in coming years, community R&D resources will increasingly be allocated to the priority projects identified under the plan, as already happened in the 7th European Framework Programme for Research and Innovation. From a longer-term perspective, the development of international collaboration in the field of safety and the studies on fusion and on Generation 4th nuclear fission reactors, in which Italy can boast excellent scientific and technological expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, the work ahead in this international conference is great, and great are expectations. The energy sector is at the backbone of our country's prosperity. It is our responsibility to plan with ambition and decide with courage. Thank you.